Hello, hello, hello. How are we doing, guys? Let me know if you're all okay. Welcome to today's live stream. It is Thursday, the 7th of September, so nearing the first week of September. Good morning, Denise. Good afternoon, Vincent. I'm very well, thank you. Hope you're doing well too. Just going to sort my settings out here a second. Audio, that's fine. Camera, that's fine. Apologies if you hear any kind of building noises behind. My neighbours doing some work, so there is a decent amount of saw noises going on at the moment. So apologies if you hear that. But yeah, we will carry on as normal, hopefully. Had some interesting data out today. That's what I was going to do. I was going to bring my pen tool and get that up. So yeah, really interesting data out today. Obviously, there was some interesting data out yesterday as well. We had the non-manufacturing PMIs out of the US, which came in well above expectations, and that kind of caused some short-term US dollar strength. That's kind of continued into today, but we'll go take a look at where the US dollar is sort of positioned as well. But looking at the US unemployment claims here, we can see that we actually came in at 216. So that's why we're getting a little bit of another sort of push on the US dollar. That hasn't been reciprocated across the board. So the Australian dollar against the US dollar is up. We can see here on the right hand side. If I just open this up slightly, Aussie US dollars up against Aussie's up against the US dollar. Sorry, the New Zealand dollar's up against the US dollar as well. So is the Japanese yen. So really speaking, it's not really being felt across the board at the moment. Aussie and Kiwi being very well supported at this current moment in time. So we'll go check out those markets in a little bit. You can see I've marked up some interesting points here as well to discuss in the video. Hi, Royston. Hope you're well. Welcome back to the live streams. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're enjoying the British weather, because it is absolutely roasting here at the moment. I've got two fans on in the background as well. So yeah, hopefully I won't melt during this. But guys, let me know what you're trading. Let me know what you're up to. We're going to go across the board. Let's start off with the US dollar index. We'll have a little look at where the dollar index is positioned at the moment. Let me just take all these arrows off in here. Let's go up to that weekly time frame, because the dollar's still performing really, really well. We can see here that we're heading towards that 105 spot 30 handle, and 105 at the moment is being tested, and it looks like we are going to head towards this level up here, isn't it? This is the sort of important area that we've been watching, which is this zone right through here. Okay, 105 just nestling in there. 105.50 I think is probably the more important level, if we were going to like put a sort of stamp on it. But that 105.50 is definitely something that interests me. Obviously, we've been bullish for, what is it now, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 weeks on the bounce. So I would expect some kind of reversal at some point. Well, I was expecting that a little bit last week. We did get it slightly, and then we started to push up. But this week, we're definitely in that sort of bullish period. Looking left as well, a couple of levels down through here. Obviously, that 101 handle, very important, that we looked at in the past. And the low is going to be very, very important as well, which is around about the 99. I'm going to put 75 because I just like that quarter number in there. So yeah, very much a straight line going on here. I wonder if we can see any kind of like, you know, point where we are going to start to top out. Now I have got the stochastic oscillator on here at the moment. You can see that prices has kind of rallied here on the stochastic. I'm just using the stochastic ahead of the RSI at the moment. It's just giving me a little bit more info on the charts. So that's the reason why I'm kind of looking at this a little bit more. But you can see that we may start to begin to get a little bit of sort of like a topping out here, because we are definitely in that sort of overbought territory. We are heading towards these previous swing highs. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get some kind of rally into this level and then maybe a bit of a turnaround. That's what I'm kind of anticipating at the moment. Dollar data has been pretty mixed. Obviously, the data yesterday kept prices moving a little bit to the upside. So will be interesting to see how that market kind of develops over the next few days, especially going into next week. Did have a little bit of trend line support going on. Be interesting to see what happens if we trade through something like that. But like I said, we're at the 105s. Naturally, I think we'd find a bit of resistance at the 105s, just because it's a nice psychological number. I'll be expecting 105.50 though to be tested. If we did get any kind of divergence here, let's say we saw a sort of move down for the rest of the day for the US dollar, a curving over in our stochastic, and we had a bit of a sort of equal high in the stochastic and a higher high here, then that could influence a little bit of downside as well, or at least give us a little bit of an idea of what could happen going into tomorrow. Let me just check the data for tomorrow. Sorry, I've missed a few messages. Yeah, very hot, typical British weather. Yeah, I want good golfing weather. Good golfing weather. Heat this summer has been miserable. I'm ready for autumn. Yeah, I hear that, Denise. I can't complain too much though, because I'm from the UK, so you know we don't get much sun. So I have to soak it up as soon as we get it. What was I going to do then? Oh, I was going to get the news up, wasn't I? I lost my train of thought. So we've got any more data kind of coming up today. We've got a couple of Fed member speeches towards this evening. We've got Bank of Canada Governor Macklem speaking later as well. Going into tomorrow, China CPI will be a big one on Saturday, but going into tomorrow, we've just got a little bit of CAD employment data. Nothing really high impact apart from that. So, although we do have a lot of yen data, which would be very interesting to see how that comes out overnight. So, something to consider. Let's go check out some charts then. So euro dollar's obviously been a little bit of a favorite of mine going into this week. We talked about the trade on Monday. I ended up taking another position into the market, which was down to some divergence that I saw yesterday going into the sort of US session. And this is the sort of current position I'm in. That one has already been in target, about 1.7R. But the overall target for my trade was the 1.0675. We had a bit of divergence going on here on the stochastic as well. So if I actually bring in the 50 and the 200 MA there, you can see that we're below the 50 and the 200 at the moment. And what I was really looking for, and what we discussed on, I think it was on Tuesday, was the fact that we had this kind of slow pullback and then a breach of trend line, and then price moved down. And what we kind of looked at again was the similar sort of thing, that price just kind of pulling back, price failing to make any highs. Again, that's really important, I feel, when you're looking for downside, is the price continuing to make any higher highs on a pullback? That's something I really like to see. Obviously, we had some divergence as well between the price and the stochastic. So yeah, that was a sort of option what I'm looking for now, with targeting that sort of 1.0675 handle. So we'll see if that can continue down, but a nice sort of alert there from the system. So yeah, just looking to see if that will continue to play out. 4 hours looking good. We're below the 20 still, which is nice. Daily also in a similar area. So that's what I'm really focusing on right now, is looking the sort of daily and the sort of correlations as well and stuff. Let me just actually open this up. So you can see daily on the left hand side, we can see the hourly on the right hand side, and whenever we kind of get that sort of bearish play on the daily chart, you can see that the alerts that come on the hourly, and that's what we want to take advantage of in these type of markets. And that goes the same for any kind of market. I mean, we've been quite interested in gold recently. Obviously Dinesh would have done pretty well out of this move on gold, and gold had a similar sort of outlook. You can see we were interested in gold for sort of fundamental reasons, as well as strength and weakness reasons, as well as technical reasons. So we had kind of everything lining up for us on gold. We had a nice trend line resistance that we were looking for resistance at. We had a dollar getting stronger, which was ultimately the reason why we wanted to be gold short. And yeah, it had a confirmation here on the daily chart. This would have been the sort of overall signal or alert from the system for a move down. What I really wanted to see was a break of this 1936 handle with a move down to sort of that 1925. It'd be interesting to see where the volumes are at on this, to be honest. Let's have a little look, because we did look at this area, didn't we? I'm just going to go back to a single screen. Let me just take off a few of these verticals so it doesn't get too crowded. And these arrows. Sorry, I just like to place those arrows manually. That's not what I want to do. I want to get rid of this. Have to redraw that. Get rid of these two vertical lines as well. Okay, so that cleans it up quite nicely. But yeah, we were looking at, let's go to the 4 hour. I just wonder if it hit that volume level and traded off of it, because we were looking at the swing low to the swing high. Yeah, look at that. This was the level we were talking about just through here. And price is currently reacting off it at the moment. So let me just zoom in so you can see that. Doesn't necessarily mean that obviously price is going to, not continue to the downside. Oh, sorry, guys. I feel like I might sneeze. Oh, 1 second. Right. Sorry. Doesn't mean that gold isn't going to continue to the downside here. It's just that we might just be getting a short-term bounce, because we've come back into this area of accumulation. So really speaking, it's this sort of zone through here, isn't it? Where we had sort of buyers and sellers basically agreeing with price. So that's why price goes sideways, is because buyers and sellers are happy to sort of agree and feel like that is fair value. When price then travels through low volume pockets, which is what we had through here, we often see a very explosive move follow, which is what we had. Price rallied to the upside. It then got to a level of resistance, and it did the exact same thing again. It got, the buyers and sellers were agreeing with price. We had a build-up of volume, and then price broke out of that. Where does it want to go and retest? Well, in my theory, it wants to go and retest other areas or other pockets of volume, and that's what it's done. It's come back into that pocket of volume. It's come and tested the most traded level within that area, the most volume within that level. And we've started to see some buyers step in again. Does it mean that price is going to continue higher? No. But what it does show us is that buyers are happy to get involved here again. A break below this area here would be sort of interesting to see, because I think that would then drive price towards this area here, even back down towards this area. So you can see this kind of volume spike within there. That area there could also be of interest. Obviously, that's where the area was before, where we saw that kind of rally to the upside as well. If I was to clear all this off, get rid of this volume profile, go through, grab the fixed range tool, go from that swing low to swing high here, you can see where the low volume pocket is, and you can see where the volume starts to pit back in there, right? That little peak there. And that's where we found support again, coming into that little peak of volume, and then price has gone off. So that's where I'm kind of looking to see if price trades through this area, where's the next sort of area? And it's come down in this area, isn't it? Where we could see price move into. So I do technically still like gold, especially from this kind of daily point of view. You've got the daily bearish candlesticks here, which is great. If we go down into an hourly, arguably we're starting to see a little bit of like a setup coming up in terms of with the stochastic. You know, if we get a strong bearish close here, it could be, you know, interesting to see if price does continue lower here. So I think everything's still kind of pointing down slightly for gold at the moment. Whether that does follow through that level, that zone down into here, that's something we need to kind of have a little look at. I think what we've got to really start keeping our eye on now is this dollar index. You know, dollar index starting to come into resistance. So yeah, I want to see if there's any kind of opportunity. So obviously we want to be able to look at the dollar strength going into that level, but we are coming into resistance. So this is just where now I think if you are going to take any kind of dollar strength trades, you've just got to be a little bit more cautious now, or a little bit more on the ball, and just be willing to kind of be able to come out of a trade earlier rather than holding it for the long term or the midterm. Yeah, still holding. Wondering if we get another move down. Nice, Denise. I mean, looking at sort of any kind of management here, you know, I'd be looking at sort of stops above this high here at the moment, or even, you know, a stop above 1924 even would be quite nice to see. Because then at least you know, because I know you're in around 1936, I believe. So yeah, that's a nice little bit of a move down coming into there. So yeah, that's something I'd be sort of interested in. But yeah, we'll see if that can continue down. It looks like we are going to get a little bit of a setup coming up here. So we'll see if that does continue to the downside. But I'm just going to go back up to that daily chart, because that's where, you know, daily and weekly for me is where I like to do my analysis, especially the weekly chart. I really love the weekly chart. So a rejection there on a weekly could set up a bit more of a deeper move, perhaps into sort of the 1886, even into a little bit lower. So that's what I'd consider there. 1938, right? Yeah, that was it. 1938. So a bit $2 higher, which was a nice entry. Victory, trading from Nigeria. Welcome. Thank you for joining me today. Right, what other charts? Well, we were looking at oil, right? So oil was another chart of interest for us. I was looking to see if there was any kind of opportunities in oil, but again, you can kind of see after that sort of impulse move through here, we are starting to slow down a little bit. So are we going to see that oil continuation? Now, there was crude oil inventories to come. So we've got crude oil inventories at 4 p.m. So there's a potential here to see a little bit of increase by the looks of it. Just looking at the previous. So previous was minus 10.6 million, forecast minus 1.8. So, you know, could see a little bit of a downside move here. Still in the minuses though, which is Okay, I think we're still yet to see the effects as well of the recent supply cuts. So it'll be interesting to see if that does kind of spark any kind of movement there. But yeah, I'm just kind of watching this one at the moment. I think although it did kind of give us a little bit of a setup yesterday, which was down in here around about the $86 level, I wasn't really interested in that move because I looked at the daily chart and I could see that we kind of closed sort of with a large wick to the upside. Yesterday, we've had a close that was below the previous high. So we're starting to find a little bit of resistance around 88. So I want to try and see if we can get maybe a bit of a deeper pullback. What I'd love to see is something like this again. If we get a bit of a pullback there, back into the $83 high, you know, I'd be all for looking for something potentially at that point. But overall, $92.50 is where I'm kind of interested in crude oil. But yeah, we'll see if that can continue. Yeah, oil looking overbought. Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. Victory, still finding technical analysis difficult. We've got absolutely tons of videos on the YouTube if you want to go and check out those. Yeah, we do technical breakdowns here as well, so you're always more than welcome to join us on the live streams every Tuesday and Thursday. So yeah, just see what you can pick up. If you're a beginner, I would focus on higher time frames like the weekly and the daily chart, and just look really for key turning points. If I was to give you this chart here and to say to you, you know, where would you want to be trading from? Everyone would answer the same. They'd be saying, I want to trade short from here, long from here, short from here, short from here, long from down here, long from down here, long from down here, short from there, for instance. So that to me already just kind of picks out areas of support and resistance, right? Because those are the areas that I want to be interested in. And, you know, the only people or the only reason that price can turn like this is because large institutions are pushing prices. Okay, so that's where big players are getting involved. So really speaking, that's who we want to follow. We want to follow areas of support and resistance. Once you develop that, then you can obviously go into lower time frames and have a little look at it. But I think if you are beginner, I would start on my higher time frames and then work my way down. That's obviously if you want to work your way down. I don't think there's any problem with looking at the higher time frames. Actually, I've done a recent interview with No Nonsense Forex, so that's coming up soon. And he's a prop firm trader, and he just trades the daily chart. So you don't even need to go into the lower time frames to be successful. There's like a million ways to do this. But yeah, learn the basics first and then come back to it. Let's have a little look at cable. Did a video on cable yesterday. We were very interested in cable moving lower. We've had some interesting developments. We had the Bank of England Governor Bailey come out and basically say that they see interest rates at pretty much the top now in the UK, which is surprising really, because I expected one more hike out of the Bank of England to come, but they're saying that they expect inflation targets to drop, as well as the as interest rates at their peak. So that's quite interesting to know. Pound has sold off the back of that. If we take a look at the right hand side here, we can see this is a really good feature on TradingView because it shows you in isolation what the currencies are doing, especially if you put them in order. Obviously, I don't have pound yen in this. Oh yeah, I do. Sorry, I don't have euro pound in it. Sorry, or cable. But you can see across the board, pound is a weak currency. You've got pound down against euro. You've got it down against the Australian dollar, Kiwi, Swiss, yen, CAD, as well as the US dollar. So pound is a really weak market at the moment. And that's something that, as a strength and weakness trader, is brilliant, because that means that's where the momentum is. Looking at it from a weekly perspective, we've got the level down through the 1.23 area, 1.2350. We could probably look for targets at. Ever since we kind of traded below the 1.2650, we've been looking for this sort of downward play. So we're starting to see that now. We're starting to see price potentially coming to these lows through here. So I'll be looking to see if there's any kind of development there. Again, we have to consider where the US dollar index is, because it is coming into a little bit of a peak. So, you know, let's say, for instance, the dollar index was at 105.50 and pound US dollar was where it was. Well, you know, potentially we'd want to see price come back first, maybe come into this sort of area here, which is that 1.26. The reason why I point that out is because if we go to a lower time frame and the 4 hour, let's say, you can see through here, there's kind of like that area, isn't there, where price has come into it. We've found support, resistance. So that area there is obviously important to price. If price was to get back to that point, there could be a little bit of a sort of sell-off coming in there. Ultimately, you can see this kind of, you know, continuation of this downside pressure. You know, I was looking at the hourly today to see if there's any kind of opportunities to get involved, but it just kind of melted away. There was no real pullback, unfortunately, because I pointed out a couple of different levels in the video, including these sort of lows through here, and we just didn't quite make it there. Instead, we kind of had a sort of short-term consolidation, and then price traded through that, and we moved lower. So in theory, there should be a little pocket of volume there, which could be interesting to us. If I was to go from swing high to swing low, we'll see what it produces. We'll see if it'll come on to here. Here we go. I've just got to zoom in a little bit. So yeah, you can see that pocket of volume on that accumulation, right? So, you know, we're looking at sort of 125 as an area, maybe a little bit lower. So, you know, perhaps that's something to look at going into tomorrow, 125. Pound is even coming down against the Aussie. Yep. We have pound news Monday and Tuesday next week. Yeah, we've got lots of pound data to come as well. We've got the climate camp. We've got GDP next week. We've also, what else have we got? We've got all the construction output. We've got lots of dollar news next week as well, to be fair. We've got core PPI, core retail sales and stuff. So, yeah, it's going to be, could be an interesting market to watch. But if this market's going to react to what Governor Bailey has been discussing, then there is some potential further downside. I was eyeing up. One market I was really eyeing up was pound CAD. Only because CAD was a little bit stronger in the morning. Now we've kind of rejected in at these highs here, which is that 1.73. We've traded through 1.71. Strong daily bearish close. And I was just looking at the hourly here to see if there's anything. But CAD's starting to give a little bit of that relief back now. I think there's some CAD data coming up. Yeah, we've got Governor Macklem speaking. So do I really want to be trading CAD into that event? Probably not. Probably not. Denise got into cable at 125.9, holding. Nice. Smashing it this week, Denise. Absolutely smashing it. Nice breakout of that cluster there, wasn't there? I always love to see that. I always love to see that little bit of an accumulation, then a breakout. A little bit of an accumulation, breakout. You know, the accumulations are good, especially when you've got that structure play of getting the lower lows and lower highs. Let's go take a look at Aussie US dollar. I was really interested in Aussie dollar. I actually took a trade on this and I quit it about -5 pips I'd got out for. So a little small loss there. It wasn't anything major, though. It just wasn't doing what I wanted it to do. So I like the fact that we're below 0.64. I like the fact that we had a sort of, if I just go to the daily time frame, daily close, although I traded this without looking at this daily close, we came up into the 6,400. Daily close before that, though, was bearish. We traded through the resistance levels, and this is what we kind of talked about in the live stream on Tuesday, was that if we were to get the strong close below the low, we could look for the continuation move. I looked at the stochastic here as well, and saw that we had this sort of K below D, and we were looking at the potential for a move back into the 20. So I was looking for this potential downside play. Now, if we go down into our time frames, then the reason why I got involved was a couple of different reasons. We had this trend line resistance coming through here, for instance. We had this crossover here. So I ended up getting involved. Now, at the time, if we were to kind of like block out what happened before, so let's just use the replay tool. At the time there, it looks good, right? It looks good. Because we've got the potential for it to move back into that sort of impulse move. What happened after that was we went sideways. So I don't want to be trading a sideways market. That's not where this system performs very well in sideways markets. So I ended up just cutting the position. We breached this trend line support. Although we are still below the 6,400, which I think was a good point, we're still just technically moving sideways. So my theory with Aussie US dollar now is I want to see a breach of this range, and then I want to look for the opportunity then, and that's when I'm only going to look for it. Same really with Kiwi dollar as well. Pretty much moved in the same range. Again, I quite like this move in here, but this was just, moving sideways. I put a little sort of entry thing on there, but yeah, nothing really. I just like the fact that we're at the 0.59 handle, and there's potential to move down. But again, another market that's moving sideways at the moment. One market that is piquing the interest, though, is definitely dollar yen. How I feel about dollar yen at the moment is definitely a move up into around about the 149, 150. Daily candlestick. See, look at these two candlesticks here. We've had an impulsive move. Doesn't look to me like sellers are really getting involved here, really jumping in on this, which is what's interesting to me. So I'm kind of looking to see if there's any kind of moves going on. Now, the 4-hour time frame, let's just bring in the 50 and the 200. We're definitely in line with that. We had a really nice sort of breakout of a bit of a trend line resistance as well. And now we're just sort of consolidating there. Again, I like to see a little bit of an accumulation going on, to be honest. So I wouldn't mind seeing a bit of a breakout here. 149, 150, something to watch. 1 hour. Yeah, the 1 hour is looking pretty good. But again, if I was to put like a volume profile on here, go from the swing low to current price, you're going to see that build up and accumulation of what's going on, right? Look at that volume pick up there. So in theory, what I'd like to see is almost like a trade outside of that. Maybe a retest of that most volume traded area. Something like that. That's what I like the look of. But yeah, that weekly is still looking pretty good. What other markets did I like? I really liked Aussie Swiss short. Really liked Aussie Swiss short, but it's just not playing ball at this moment in time. Let's go to the hourly. Let's bring in the stock. Ooh. 57 was a decent level. I'm going to see how the next hour goes with this. I like this from just the whole sort of perspective of you've got the daily chart. You've got the daily chart sort of downward trend we've got going on here. Let me just zoom this in a little bit and stretch it out a little bit. We're obviously in a very bearish trend on the daily chart. We had this sort of bullish channel that price was working with. And then on Tuesday, we had this sort of really nice close outside of it. So that's what really interested me. Obviously, as well, stochastic was looking pretty good. So, yeah, I was watching to see what happened on a pullback. We had an earlier alert, sorry, which was this candlestick here. And now price has kind of come up to it. Looks like we might have a little bit of divergence. Let's have a look. So higher high. I'm just going to grab that high there. Equal high on the stochastic. So could be a little bit of divergence play going on here. So there may be a little bit of a move down. You've got this support coming in. 56.50s. So yeah, potentially something there. I wouldn't like this daily to close bullish though. Kind of broken yesterday's high, which isn't making me the sort of happiest. Aussie is starting to turn a little though. You can see Aussie dollar's now bearish. Aussie yen's turned bearish. So, although it's not really bearish against anything else. So we shall see. Maybe one to watch there. Vincent, I've placed a long trade. Pound Aussie at 195.63. Waiting to see how it plays out. Let's have a look. Pound Aussie. Let's get rid of all these now. 195.163. Let's go to a hourly. Let's get a little inch 195. Okay. Okay, so it's almost like a little demand zone play, right? Target up here. Yeah, nice. I like the fact that we're back in the demand. The only thing I'd say is obviously pound's become a little bit weaker at the moment. Whether that follows through, though, is something we've got to, keep in mind. Aussie, obviously, a very strong currency going into today, but I don't think it's strong overall. It's just that we've had a little bit of this kind of like Aussie Kiwi boost. Even Aussie trade balance last night was negative. So, I was a little bit like, I don't know whether this is just a bit of a shift in risk. But saying that, you've got the yen pairs that are bearish and Aussies, and Kiwi are pretty strong. So can't really say that's a bit of a risk, So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, quite like that. That's nice. Hopefully that one goes well for you, Vincent. S&P 500 down again. Gold coming back down now. So yeah, gold's looking pretty good. Aussie Swiss, I like still gonna. I'm just gonna wait on how Aussie dollar does here. Right. To be fair, guys, I think that's all I've got for us today. There's not really much else in to really discuss. Is there any more questions? If not, I will probably call it quits there because it is absolutely roasting. let me know. If not, we will call it quits. As always, guys, though, if you do want to, ask any questions, feel free to drop a message on any of the YouTube comments. Always happy to get back to you there. Thanks for joining me, guys. Thank you for all the comments, questions, as usual. I really, really appreciate it. Thanks for sharing your trade ideas as well. Thank you, Ryguy. Appreciate you coming. Thank you, Royston. And thank you, Denise. Yeah, please like the video. Thanks, Ryguy, for the shout out. Please like the video. So, yeah, I'd really appreciate if you could leave the stream a like. Vincent, demand and supply zones together with volume profile is working for me. Happy to hear that, Vincent. Yeah, volume profile can be very, very powerful. So, yeah, glad that's working out well for you. Have a little look at the futures contracts and then pair it with the volume profile as well. If you've got TradingView, you can look at some futures contracts as well. So, yeah, that's just another level up for you there. Thank you, Victory. Thanks for joining today. Really appreciate you joining. Hopefully you learned something from that. And if you're interested in coming back on Tuesday next week, every Tuesday and Thursday we do a live stream. So we've also got loads of other content on the YouTube as well if you are interested. So yeah, thanks guys for joining me. Really appreciate it. And I'll speak to you soon. Have a great weekend.